Contemporary Art. Deconstructing Danto's End of Art. Video 3. Cesar Lorenzano, Fisp. Untreff.
Are you sleeping, Brother John, Brother John?
The End of Art. At the beginning of all, was Hegel, was his end of art. Danto refreshes Hegel arguments to claim that, after Brilló Box, art arrive at the third dialectic movement of its history. It's self-conscious, can't go any further. Art, and its history ends. In the post-history, art has no meaning. At the beginning of Danto's End of Art, he quotes, "Art is dead. Its present movements are not at all indications of vitality."
Art is dead. Oh yeah.
Are you sure, Danto?
Fortunately, artists do not know that art is dead, in the past, with no meaning, and that it can't progress. No progress at all from Duchamp to the kinetic art of Le Parc. Or the moving water in the kinetic art of Cossus. No change in the organic, subtle shapes of Barbary Hepworth, or of Henry Moore, in the optic art. In the computational mosaic art of Eduardo Pla, or Lorenzano. In the mirrors and reflecting shapes that creates walkable, fantastic structures. Philosophy, history and history of art did not ended with Hegel. Prussian state was not the best of the possible worlds. Art and history of art did not end with Danto and his Hegelian philosophy of art.
With his eyes focused in America, Danto never took seriously the art from the peripheral countries. Not even African sculptures that impressed the Parisian artists of the early 20th century and made them change.
Danto explains that the real question is how to differentiate two objects that look alike, one of them a work of art, and the other a common object.
Everybody said, what is art? That's the question. I say, no, that is not the question. If you've got two things, one of which is art and one of which is not, but they look exactly alike, what explains the difference? And
Huge shadow of Leibniz, allow me to speak in your name to clarify Danto's proposal.
Leibniz states that if two objects have the same qualitative properties, are identical, Brillo boxes has the same qualitative properties, and are different. These are similar philosophical problems. Similar, but not identical. Danto proposed several so-called indiscernibles experiment. The experiment of the red squares. Are they indiscernibles? Do they look alike? If it is so, answer the following question. Which one is a work of art?
Danto uses the prestige of the term indiscernible to induce to believe that the experiments are about them. But Warhol's Brillo boxes and common ones are not indiscernible. The former have essence.
Don't you dare use my indiscernibles.
Leibniz's shadow appeared to us, furious with Danto. Without any mention to Leibniz's indiscernibles, it seems to me that he is very susceptible.
First, I will make a simple test, applying Danto's criteria, to see if we can distinguish common objects and works of art.
Afterwards, I will expose my own criteria, and show in some examples, why that contemporary art is in crisis.
common objects or works of art?
Both are common objects.
The first one, you may think, is a work of art if I say to you that I took the photo in a museum. Yes, but it was on the wall, not as part of the exhibition.
Which one is a work of art? Both. This is from an exhibition of Martha Manoogian. You can't distinguish common objects from works of art. The problem of indiscernibles vanishes. An object is art if, 1. It is recognized as such by an artist community, through several indicators, place of exhibition, by whom, etc. 2. It shares some aesthetic values of traditional works of art, structure, equilibrium, etc. 3. Evokes something else, its meaning, in an endless metaphoric game. Guess which is a work of art, and which is a common object. A little help. Only one is a work of art. If you chose the boxes, you lost. They are boxes of a supermarket. This is the real contemporary work of art, in modern Tate Gallery. The other two are also works of art. What do you think of it? This is the contemporary art that Danto theorized. This is the art in crisis. Critics say that the museums of contemporary art are crowded with people that do not like what they are seeing. Which one of the works of art that we saw before could belong to that category? If you choose garbage, I agree with you.
In 1964, Danto saw the Brillo Box, but only in 1984. He uses the obsolete Hegelian argument to claim that with Brillo Box art ends, and contemporary art begins in New York.
In 1989, Francis Fukujama uses the Hegelian argument to claim that after the defeat of communism, history ends, and there is only democratic liberalism. Ideologies are replaced by the economy. They both think it is in North America that history ends. Hegel believed that it was in the Prussian state.
Thomas Sokolowski tells us that the US Department of State, after World War II, impulses abstract expressionism as a cultural strategy to expand its hegemony. Andy Warhol in 1964, Arthur Danto in 1984, and Fukuyama in 1987 were part of that strategy. The same strategy that impulsed pop art first, and afterwards contemporary art. The Bilbao Contemporary Art Museum, an expansion of the New York Guggenheim Museum, began in 1991 and was inaugurated in 1997. New York and USA became the indisputable center of art. Since 1981 begins the deployment of neoliberalism, guided by Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher. It became an economic, political, social, and cultural force that spread all over the world. Hegemonic and globalized, it was termed the unique thought. Contemporary art, as an inseparable cultural part of neoliberalism, became a hegemonic and globalized. A kind of unique art as part of an unique thought. Contemporary art produce works full of meaning,
and others classified as empty, incompressible, banal, or unnecessarily shocking.
How is it possible that arises questions to an art that belongs to the cultural heart of neoliberalism? The endless crisis, the permanent adjustments, the new lefts in Greece, Spain, and the heterodox governments in South America, economic, social and political factors that erode neoliberalism. Brexit, and more recently Trump election might end with the unique thought.
Artistic forms grew outside contemporary art. Often they criticize society, wars, capitalism.
Danto is aware of the existence of this art. He knew it. A subservient art has always been with us. What else could it be for the theoretician of one empire? Decoration, self-expression, entertainment are, of course, abiding human needs. There will always be a service for art to perform, if artists are content with that. He could no be more patronizer. That art is subservient, done by artists with no pretensions. On the contrary, contemporary works are reflections on art, made by artists, that act as philosophers. What do you think?
¿Qué quiere que le diga, pensador? Me sorprende el desparpajo con el que Danto dice que con él termina la filosofía del arte. Podría haber aprendido de su maestro Hegel, que le pregunte cómo le fue, y eso que él era el hegeliano original. No voy a seguir con esto. Prefiero decirle lo que pienso del arte y terminar este artículo.
Art does not end, and its meaning is not immutable. It is impossible to know its future, knowing that history has no end, nor ends.
We attend an art that develops powerful, multicentric, unconstrained, mirror of the most numerous, differentiated, globalized, interconnected, interdependent and self-conscious artistic community in history, and an art in an endless process of creation, hybridization, and reappropriation of its own history, including contemporary art.
Perhaps crisis is good for contemporary art. It can detach the foliage of banality or bad taste. Perhaps we will see a rebirth of contemporary art in spite of the decline of neoliberalism, an art critical to globalization, society and neoliberalism, with profound meaning, interacting democratically with other artistic forms. Not unique, not privileged. World stage promises new challenges to society and art. We live interesting times.